This week, we welcome Jorge Mendizabal, the inventor of the Cigharpoon, the Stogie Geeks segment. We're going to talk to Jorge about using the Cigharpoon and how he invented it. And we'll wrap up everything with the Stogies of the Week on this edition of the Stogie Geeks Show.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from Villiger North American Studios, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geeks Show.
Many of you don't like the Patriots, and quite frankly, those of us on the show today don't really care. Then we're gonna. Joe Hollywood joins us. Welcome, Joe.
How are you?
He's on point.
What's up, boys?
It's definitely a cigar. What's going on? Yeah, we need that. It's like a classy straw. It's like all metal and stuff.
That's a stainless steel straw.
It's already bent. Don't try and bend it anymore because it's metal.
You're so strong, Joe. Bend that straw.
Brought to you by
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Welcome to the Stogie Geeks Show. This week we have Dr. Jorge Mendizabal. He is a neurologist out in Corpus Christi, Texas, and he has a passion. He is a strong cigar enthusiast, and he's also the inventor of the Cigharpoon, which, if you do not know what that is a poker that has some harpoon-like edges that are niched in it, and Jorge is going to take us through that, as well as his passion for the cigar industry. I am your host this week, filling in for Paul, Joe Hozempa, and we have our co-host, Joe D. Thank you for tuning in here to the Stogie Geeks Show. Make sure you tell your friends about that. They can go to stogiegeeks.com, and they can click on all of the episodes there. Jorge, thank you for joining us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Now,
Good, doctor.
I'm going to give you a choice. You can talk about the Cigharpoon first or your cigar journey. Which one you think?
Well, we can start with my journey on cigars.
Sounds perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so you're a cigar enthusiast, so take us through that.
Well, I think I've been smoking cigars for about 15 years now.
Okay.
I started out in meeting with a friend from high school, basically, who we shared a common interest, and we went, over what we like to do. And that was about 15 years ago. And eventually, we came up with this thing in common that were cigars. And back then, I was smoking maybe a cigar or two a month. Mm-hmm. And then he asked me, how come you're smoking so little? So we picked up from there. I think I'm a daily smoker now.
Right. So 15 years ago, do you remember your first cigar? Do you remember what it was, the brand?
Set the stage for us. Where were you?
I think probably my first cigar was an acid.
Okay.
The acid cigar.
That's usually the barrier to entry, sure. Yeah.
It's kind of an introductory cigar.
Okay. When was your first non-infused cigar?
It was probably right after that.
Okay.
Actually, I think I got a hold of a Cuban.
Oh, yep.
And eventually kind of put the infused cigars to the side. I haven't smoked an infused cigar for a long time.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where, the more commonality that we approach, we always either seek out to try a Cuban or to go there because it's the pilgrim in the unholy land, if you will. Especially with the embargo and the rich history. But also, what's unique about Cuba is it's amazing how when we interview a bunch of guests here. The methodology that they use for the blending of the cigars and stuff like that. Now, in your day job, you are a neurologist.
That's correct.
How did that happen? How did usually sometimes some of the frequent cigar smokers can not be totally into the medical field, but we're starting to see a bunch of trend like that. There's actually a doctor who created his own blend as well.
I haven't done that. That might be on my bucket list.
Well,
But I really think that everything in life in moderation should be okay.
okay.
As a physician, I'm not necessarily endorsing that everybody should smoke a lot of cigars, but
Sure.
I think if you do things in moderation, like everything else, I find it relaxing. I think just relaxation in itself is healthy. So.
Yep.
Appreciate that endorsement.
Yeah. Anything in moderation is good, but there is a certain aspect of the people that you meet, be it friend or a friend that you haven't met yet, when you have a cigar. So do you go to a local retailer over there? Is there a cigar shop over there, or?
We do have a cigar shop, and
Okay.
I do go there from time to time. Probably you mentioned about the social aspect of cigar smoking. Probably the most social thing that we do here, at least in Corpus Christi, is we have a cigar club. And it's just basically a group of 10, 15 guys who we meet every Monday evening. And basically usually share a box of cigars, share dinner, have a few drinks, and just try to fix the world over cigars.
Nice.
Mostly doctors like yourself or variants of company?
There are people from all walks of life. There are a couple of doctors, a couple of attorneys. We have engineers, maintenance people, architects, even 2 priests.
No kidding.
Beauty of the cigar world, bring everybody together. And
I've actually,
really smoke.
I've had experience. It's amazing. I've had experience smoking a cigar with a priest as well. It's interesting. It's interesting when you see them, and obviously you know what they do for a day job, and then when they have their relaxing time, and then when he comes into the local cigar shop, he sits down with us, and I'm Italian, so I always say, can you give me one of these? It definitely can't hurt, but it really brings a good group dynamic to the group. Now, so you meet in a shop and you actually have dinner. And do you pick the box ahead of time, or do you smoke it ahead of time, or do you all smoke it? Do you reintroduce yourself to a new box?
So that's half the fun right there, the process.
The only rules of the club is that we meet once a week.
Okay.
Each member brings a brand new box of cigars. Usually we try to bring something new that we haven't tried.
Okay.
And that particular member has to bring dinner for everybody.
Oh, cool.
So we rotate, and we actually meet in one of the priest's house. That's kind of he doesn't have a wife that he needs to respond to. So
Right, sure.
Makes it for neutral grounds, and that's where we meet.
Right. That's awesome. What are some of the types of cigars that you have been smoking in this club?
Well, besides the box of cigars that we bring every week, people exchange cigars. You name it. We have people who like Padrones. We have the Christoph group. We have, in general, Nicaraguan tend to be the most common country that we like to smoke cigars from.
Sure. Yeah. There's been. It's amazing how we can talk to a new person geographically not in our area, and the Nicaraguan cigars are bringing in a lot of hype.
Yep.
They're good blends. Do you have any specific blends and brand names that stick out that the group liked?
Again, we have, there's Padrones are popular, Christophs, Pepin Garcias, we have AJ Fernandez. I like AJ Fernandez myself, Tatuaje.
Yep.
The usual lines.
Yep. Do you need recommendations, sir, or we can we have a Stogies of the Week segment every week here. So
Well, I listen to you guys every week. Keep up.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate that for sure. It's important. We try to go out there and get new stuff that's available here. Some of the stuff we do some mail order stuff and have some friends who own cigar shops that are outside of the geographical area. And it's always good to smoke some new stuff.
It's important to reach outside that comfort zone as well. Cigars maybe you put on the back burner previous, but you like to touch on it, revisit, new blends and new regions.
Yeah, it's definitely important. Today on the show, we're starting out with a Diamond Crown Julius Caesar Robusto.
That's a nice cigar.
So, I've been getting into some of the Robusto sizes. I've been trying to, Toro is usually my go-to because, sometimes if I like to have a cigar and then golf or if I'm, doing something for a couple hours or I want to relax or whatever, I go for the bigger size. But I've been really exploring for the past 2 weeks the Robustos.
It's a nice timetable as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit on it for 2-hour window, maybe an hour, a little bit more, and.
Have you ever had this one, Jorge?
Yeah, I haven't had I have Diamond Crown. I haven't tried the Julius Caesars yet.
Yeah. When you get a chance, I'll let you know on the next segment when we talk about the Cigharpoon, because it'll be almost done by then about what we think. But I'm enjoying it so far. How about you, Joe?
I am as well. Yeah, it's delicious.
Awesome. Take us through. So, other than your cigar club, what are some of the stuffs that you do when you go to a local shop? Explain the culture over there.
We have, unfortunately, here we have very limited as far as cigar shops. We only have about 2 of them.
Okay, and that's in Corpus Christi, right?
About 300,000.
Okay.
So only 2. So if you want to go to the big ones, you have to go to Houston or San Antonio. But in our local shops, we do have some events. So a lot of the guys from the club, we go to the events, and so it's a lot of fun. They're always looking for what is new. That's the typical thing that you ask when you get into a shop. Mm-hmm. What do you have that's new?
Doctor, what's the format at the events down there in Texas? 2 or 3 sticks, dinner. What are we looking at?
It depends on the company. I think we've had some companies that will bring dinner. They might feature 3 or 4 lines of cigars, some specials, some sales. I haven't seen too many samples as of late, but that's usually the format.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I want to talk a little bit about business. In my business, I have the opportunity to blend, if the customer wants to, blend the cigar culture. Enjoying a cigar over dinner, or taking a client to a golfing event that might have cigars, or take a client to a cigar dinner. You're a neurologist. I'm assuming that does not happen. Is that correct?
Not usually.
That's a good question, right?
Depends on the circle. I was this past weekend. We had a annual fundraising that we have here in Corpus. I'm actually one of the organizers, and it is an event that features nice drinks, good food, and cigars.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, we had at least maybe 10 doctors who attended that event. So, again, depends on the group of people that you're dealing with. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But what about
to smoke cigars in moderation?
Yep, absolutely. What about your enthusiasm for that? What do you think about the FDA? Have you been keeping up on that as a consumer, or?
I have, and I'm trying to stay up to date with that. I'm optimistic. I think the regulations, as they were being threatened less than about a year ago, I don't think it will happen. I think I'm looking forward to a world that we're not as regulated as far as cigars is concerned.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. That's been my take over the past year now, coming up on August when they put that deadline there. I've always been optimistic. Yeah, I've been optimistic because I just like you say, doctor. It's you got to do stuff in moderation. Having a cigar. It's tobacco, rapid binder filler. It's a natural product. There's no chemicals added to it. I think that plays a bigger part than some of the other stuff that they're trying to regulate. I
agree 100%.
But with our government, if you turn on to any local news station, you notice sometimes it doesn't make good decisions sometimes. So I guess the word is cautiously optimistic. You know.
You're probably right.
How's the culture out there with some of the patrons of the cigar? Are they sharing that same boat, or are they just like, you know, whatever happens, happens? And because I think the reason why I'm asking, and Paul asked a lot about that, is because if it does get regulated, it's really going to affect the creativity process of, you know, from a consumer perspective, having new blends come out.
That's correct.
You know,
but I think I think you're right. The tobacco police is out there. As far as here in Texas, we tend to be less regulated, I think, compared to other states.
Mm-hmm.
But until recently, we could actually go to a nice restaurant, and they have a section where you can actually sit down and smoke a cigar.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a couple of restaurants that allow for cigar smoking in their patios. There are no restrictions as far as the city, at least where they still allow you to smoke outside.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to a nice park and smoke a cigar, or when you go to a beachfront, you can smoke a cigar. So we're still in good shape, at least here. Yeah,
we're half and half in good shape in regards to that. As early as yesterday, it was a beautiful day here. A lot of people. So we have a city by the water here in Rhode Island. It's called Newport, Rhode Island, and in the center of Newport has this park, and it's on the strip. You know, so you have a visual. You got a strip, street, water, a bunch of shops, and in the park they posted there's no smoking at all outdoors. So I don't know. And then it gave an ordinance number. I took a picture of it with my cell phone. I'm going to look up the ordinance number. But I'm assuming that was an extra step like they did in the city of Boston, where they just banned all of the smoking outside, not in parks, doing that.
That's just extreme. I think it's ridiculous.
I think it is, because, there are some times that, as a premium tobacco cigar smoker, I know some of my friends don't really like the cigarette smoke, but yet people will stand outside and freeze their keister off when it's 20 degrees here, and we have to walk through that, and it can be kind of like a double standard within my opinion. What do you think about that, Joe?
I was going to touch on the fact, like, Corpus Christi, correct me if I'm wrong, is a military installation down there? Some capacity?
Yeah, there's a Navy station. Yes, there's a military station. Yes.
Just in the short time I've been smoking, it seems like areas with I don't know if there's any direct correlation, but with the military bases, installations within the area, it seemed like that regulation was lax a little bit, for the better. But as Joe brought up, Newport, we've got I've got our own military down there, and just curious the way it's going. It seemed to be ratcheting up the regulation recently.
Well, what concerns me is, like I said, if you have a cigar shop down there and you can't smoke in the building anymore, say, right? It's cash and carry from a retail perspective.
Right.
Where are they going to consume their product? It just I just
little squeezes on.
Yeah, I mean, it just squeezes us out, or squeezes people out, and I mean, it can be pretty frustrating, I'm sure, But you have two retail shops now over there. The weather is Corpus Christi. Correct me if I'm wrong. You probably, it doesn't get below 30 over there. Is that correct?
We have a couple of weeks here in the winter, maybe, where it gets into 40s and 30s. So
okay, so for the most,
that's the extent of our winter.
Or conducive.
Okay, so for the most part, from a cigar culture perspective, you're able to smoke outside on the patios of these cigar places and stuff like that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they usually have outside events and they put tents out, and for the most part, again, there are no restrictions, no major regulations.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a radius? Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, so an extreme example, I was in Canada last year, for example, and we went to a family event, and I was smoking a cigar at a private residence. It turns out that Canada would not allow you to smoke a cigar outside of your house either.
Really?
Wow.
So actually, we had a neighbor that came to complain about a city ordinance that does not allow the individual to smoke a cigar in their house, because the smoke migrates to the neighbor's house. So I had to put the cigar down, basically.
Huh.
Tough times. It's
Well, that's
a game changer.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. That was the PG word I was looking for. That's a game changer. Yeah.
Doc, you a second generation smoker?
No, I'm first in my family. I'm trying to get my 18-year-old to smoke cigars, but he's not interested yet, at least.
He's 18. He's interested in girls, fast cars, right?
Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Right.
He's a jog. He's plays soccer in college, and
Yep.
But I think the new generations in the school, they're also, the cigar police is there too, and just kind of wash up their brains.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Coming from Texas, I figured there would be more cigar shops within your location. So how far are you from Houston?
We're about 3 hours.
So 3 hours.
Drive from Houston, about an hour and a half to San Antonio. Most of the time I go to San Antonio. If you want to look for a cigar that is not available here, if you want to visit some more variety in the shops, we go to San Antonio usually.
Mm-hmm. You do any online shopping?
I do some, yeah.
Yep.
I do. I always like to buy a cigar in the shop first and then brick and mortar first.
I agree. Yep.
Try it.
Good man.
And if I like something, I might order a box online.
Yep. I think it's important to support the local brick and mortars. To go down there and do that, especially if you have a chance to ever speak to a cigar shop owner or a business owner. It's amazing some of the stories that they tell. It's about some of the old times, and they always go into they always call it the boom, the cigar boom, and they'll never go back to the boom. But I think, I always try to talk to them, and I say, I disagree with you because the original cigar boom, maybe it might not be there as far as volumes of dollars. But as far as content, I mean, some of the blends that are coming out are so creative and so unique. Have you ever had some of the Viaje series, like the Viaje Ghost Pepper or Jalapeno or something like that?
No, I have not.
Yep.
Those are not very common in this area. As you probably know, there are cigars that tend to be regional.
Yep.
And Viaje is one of those. It's not easy to come by here.
Mm-hmm. But I'm amazed that because some of the either cigar reps or cigar owners that we interview here on the show, some of the hot spots tend to be, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, Texas,
I was going to bring that up next. Absolutely.
Texas and Atlanta, definitely New England. I mean, we have so many, a ton of competition here just in the state of Rhode Island. Over in the state of Massachusetts as well.
I was surprised to hear only 2 shops within your radius down there.
Yeah.
Texas seems to be booming, but maybe.
Do they go out there and just from a retail perspective? Is it a lot of cash and carry, or are they really migrating to really hang out at the cigar shop?
I think both. I mean, the main shop that I'm familiar with, there's always a group of guys. Smoking a cigar, playing dominoes, having a drink.
Yeah. Yep.
And we always try to support them. The owner is actually a very nice ex-military Cuban actually from his background, but ex-U.S. military. Very nice guy. He always tries to bring whatever is new, and so we're always there trying to support him.
Right. I want to save the cigar harpoon or the Cigharpoon for the next segment. So anything.
Okay.
I don't want to steal away from how you created it and how that came out.
We'll
and
give
all
it
that
due
there.
justice. Absolutely.
But what do you think that your next step within your cigar journey is?
Well, I'm still continuing to meet with my friends every Monday, and it's always looking for what is new.
Yep.
I actually, you were asking me about blending cigars. I actually got close to actually having my own personal blend.
That's okay.
A few years ago.
Awesome.
It never happened. At the end, it was actually a project between a friend of mine and myself, and never materialized. We actually had the Plasencia factory was going to blend something for us.
Really?
So who knows? That might be coming in the future. The other project that I have in mind is I've been toying with the idea of actually growing my own tobacco. I have some land in Guatemala.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tropical, and so who knows? That might be coming in the future as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep us abreast.
Change of careers from.
Well, I mean, it's a fascinating industry, Jorge. I mean, we meet so many people, but what I like about it is it's a passionate industry.
Yes.
If you're gonna create, if you're gonna take us through a little bit about how far you got with the blend. What did you throw out some potential names? I don't want any copyright infringements here, but but
We never got to that point. It was my friend is actually an agricultural engineer in Ecuador,
okay.
and so he has some contacts there for wrapper, and he already has some ideas about what we're going to have in the blend. And Plasencia was willing to actually roll the cigars for us. But he wanted to have the cigars to be sold locally in South America. As it turns out, as you know, probably the worst market for cigars is actually cigar country. So
Right.
trying to sell a cigar in Nicaragua is not that easy, or Ecuador or Dominican Republic. And at the end, we could not find a market. And bringing the cigar to the U.S., there was a lot of red tape. So eventually, we kind of abandoned the idea there.
Mm-hmm. You think you're going to wait to see what the FDA does, and maybe you might pick that up?
I might. Who knows? I might.
What about the blend? Was it medium? Was it Connecticut shade? What are you?
We were going to target the market in Ecuador. We got to the point that we actually knew that they like more mild cigars there. Mm-hmm. More of a strong cigar smoker, but it was going to be a mild blend, probably Connecticut shade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be a challenge here in the United States, especially with the price point. It's from a business perspective. You kind of have a double-edged sword. You make a balanced Connecticut. It's retails for $7-8, and that's what's 80% on the shelf, and that's what's there. And you need some really ultra creative marketing to get that message across. If you were to go stronger with a Nicaraguan blend or something stronger, you limit the amount of people total that you can target your product to, but the penetration to get into that market can be there, and you have to try to find that balance there. Maybe you could try to do both. Because sometimes the economies of scale, will allow you to do both.
Even with the Connecticut wrapper, you can play around it. You can come up with something very elegant, very nice. Not necessarily on the mild perspective. A lot of flavor.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a segment. Joe D probably has the number, but we did a segment on Stogies that are Connecticut shade and what we liked here. For those of you who are listening, you can go to the archives, StogieGeeks.com, and it'll be in the archives of the show. But yeah, you can really get a cigar that pleases every level of cigar smoker within a Connecticut shade, for sure.
Varying degrees, certainly kicking up a notch.
But before we move on to the next segment, take us through this plant now. You have ideas for a tobacco plant over in Guatemala, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
So my idea, we have basically every country in Central America is already growing tobacco for cigars. So you have, of course, Nicaragua. You have some cigars being produced in Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. Honduras, of course. Even Panama has some tobacco. Mm-hmm. Guatemala has a small production of cigar tobacco that is being produced there. It's actually not bad. It's not the quality that you're going to find in Nicaragua or Honduras. So my idea would be at some point, we have some volcanic soil there. So the terroir is there. It's just what we need is the technical know-how, actually.
It's an untapped resource.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's again, having the land, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do it. You need some technical advice, and maybe bring somebody from the Dominican Republic or Nicaragua to give us some ideas. And
Maybe somebody sees the show today and then reaches out to you. You never know.
maybe so. You never
Beautiful
know.
thing.
Right. Any names for the blend or no?
No, nothing.
No? You can.
You guys can send me some ideas.
I like Jorge's stick. Right?
The doctor's medicine.
The doctor's medicine. There you go. But then you would be crisscrossing all of that. Well, when we come back,
I'm thinking maybe something containing Habano or Corojo. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite wrappers.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think again. It's nice to speculate, but I think that waiting for the FDA would be a good move on your part. Rekindling the relationship with the Placencia factory. I do know that the Placencia factory made some stuff with Panamanian tobacco in it as well. So, with the Connecticut shade, I could name 3 cigars off the top of my head, and it's one of those things where that is an interesting blend.
Right.
When you have Connecticut shade with the Panamanian tobacco, gives it a little bit of a bite to it. So, if you're a new smoker, it's not going to put you over the edge.
Right.
But
keep you entertained.
Yeah, if you're an experienced smoker, it'll definitely keep you entertained. Do you have any other than the Cigharpoon? Do you have any questions for Jorge before we close out on the segment?
Pretty thorough segment. Pleasure to have you on, and I appreciate the journey.
Okay, Jorge, we're going to take a quick break. Stay on the line. When we come back, we're going to hear about how Jorge invented the Cigharpoon. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.